through you to each other. So first off, we need to understand that God is love. God is the first source. God is, I believe, the only source. Because if we take our faith out of the mix, then we get back into what Russell, the Bernhard Russell, the atheist, says, that without God, sort of what is there? Then it's up to me, myself, and I. God is the source of love. Secondly, what I'm going to throw up some of the omnis, and these are theological terms. Omniscient, simply meaning that God is all wise, all knowledge God has. Hebrews 4 says, nothing in creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare before the eyes of Him to whom we must give account. Jesus says in Luke, even the very hairs of our head are numbered. How can that be? I don't know about you, but I look on the other side of the sink and at the hairbrush sometimes, or my own hairbrush, and it's like, whoa, how many hairs aren't in that hairbrush? How do I have any hair left up here? Jesus says, even the hairs on your head are numbered. God is all-knowing. And with this, there's something I just want to relate, and some of you I know understand this, going through a Bible study. It's something that has always sort of bugged me. Not until recently did I really understand it. Back when I was in elementary school and we did the poem 1492. Oh man, you guys are pretty quiet, so they're pretty tired. Yeah, 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. We learn in elementary school that Columbus discovered the America. Was America ever lost? Yeah, he didn't discover it. It was always here. Pardon? Well, that's good because it was always here. It was here. It was revealed. People in Europe didn't realize it was here. It was already here. People were living here for a long time. It was revealed. Recently, I was reading an author, and he talked about the fact that truth is not discovered. Truth is revealed. Truth has always been. Truth will always be. Jesus Christ says, I am the way, I am the truth. It has always been, it will always be. It is not discovered, it is revealed to us. It is revealed because truth is already known by God. He is omniscient. God is also omnipotent, meaning that He is all-powerful. The Latin word ex... Okay, does your mom not like me talking about her, Chelsea? Sorry, Wendy. Yeah, I know, you're getting the food ready. The Latin word ex nihilo means out of nothing. Out of nothing, God created. All-powerful. Able to create that out of which there was nothing. All-powerful. Mark 14 says, everything is possible for God. The book of Job. If you never read Job, write this down. Job 38. I know the book of Job is pretty long. For a lot of people, it can really put you to sleep. But Job 38, God says there, where were you, Job, when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you understand. Who marked off the dimensions? Surely you know. Who stretched out the measuring line? On what were the universe, the cosmos footing set? Who laid its cornerstones? Where were you when I made the clouds, its garment? Have you ever given orders to the morning sun or shown the dawn where to go in its place? Have you journeyed to the springs of the sea, walked the deep recesses? Have you comprehended the vast expanse of the world and the universe? Can you bind the cords of Orn? Can you bring forth the constellations in their seasons? Or lead the bear, the constellation the bear, with its cubs? Do you know the laws of the heavens? Can you set up God's domain over the earth? And he says in Job 38:21, surely you know, for you were already born. You've lived so many years. I like that. God's being cynical. You ever think that God can be cynical? He's being cynical there. He's saying, oh, come on. You're so old. You know how all this works. God said, no, you don't. God is all-powerful. Out of nothing, he has created. God is omnipresence, meaning God is all-present, ever-seeing, all around us. In the mid-1990s, there was a Bette Midler song. From a distance, God is watching over. The tune just eludes me right now. But from the distance, from a distance, God is watching over us. Some of you remember that song? Yeah. From a distance. I even in South Dakota had a lady, she wanted to sing it. And she wanted to sing it in church. And I said, beautiful song, but we got to change the words. And we did. From a distance? No. God's not watching us from a distance. What's the first part of our I believe? I believe in God the Father. Father, closeness, that omnipresence. God is all present, all seeing. God is with us. The reality and the knowledge that wherever we go, we cannot get away from them. Jeremiah 23 says this. Can anyone hide in secret places so that I cannot see him? Asked God. Do I not fill heaven and earth? David says in Psalm 131, where can I go from your spirit, O Lord? How can I flee from your presence? I can't get away from you, God. You ever play the game hide and seek? I think all of us did when we were younger. If you still have little kids, you play it. If you got grandkids, you still play it. Hide and seek. Do we ever really get away from the person that we're hiding from when we're a little kid? No, they typically always know where we are. God is even greater than that. God has an ever-presentness within us. Even in the darkest of our night, in the darkest of our places, there is no hiding from God. God is with us. God is immutable, meaning unchanging. He is stable. The psalmist from Psalm 102 says, but you remain the same, your years will never end. God is the same, Scripture says, from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. There's also the fact that God is eternal. From the beginning, I already said, Genesis 1, in the beginning, God. Now, I really have no idea where God originated from. I really don't. I believe. Jesus says we're called to come to him as a child in belief. I believe. I believe that God was from the beginning, as Scripture says, and will be at the end. That God created us for a purpose of loving him, worshiping him, being in relationship with him as we are in relationship with each other. There's an eternal aspect to God. And it's interesting, if we look at all these, we've been created in God's image. We've been created in the image of love. We've been created, Adam and Eve, they knew. They knew not to eat. They still did eat. All powerful. God has given us grace and gifts within our lives. All present. God's given us a spirit within our lives. Not that we're going to be all present, but God's given us that spirit. Immutable. The eternal. God created us, you and me, to be eternal. Isn't that amazing? He created us. We were made to live eternally. The sin in our life brought disease. And yet through his Son, that we're going to look at next week, who redeemed us, brought us back to that eternal relationship. The psalmist says, Lord, you have been our dwelling place throughout all generations. From everlasting to everlasting, you, O Lord, are God. Just the last idea, and there's more I could throw up here, but the last one is God's providence. Now, if you'd actually get into study of the Apostles' Creed, and if you would get into the study of some of the Reformation writers from the 1600s, this is the big word they like to use. The providence of God. The leading, the guiding, the directing, the governance, the control of the King of Kings, all sovereign in our lives. Some of the ideas with that is when the Jewish people were their 40 years in the desert, who provided them food? The Father did. The manna. We read in Jeremiah